Senator Schatz.
Mr. Spahn, in your testimony, you referred to misinformation to the tribes about the 638 process, sort of indicating that there's been some active discouragement of people trying to pursue 638 arrangements. Can you tell me what you mean by that?
Yes, Vice Chairman, thank you for the question. We have seen some concerning dialogue from IHS employees with a couple of tribes that are looking to move into a self-governance agreement, where we see IHS employees directly sort of lobbying tribal leadership, trying to discourage them away from entering into a self-governance agreement. They have shared information within their community saying that if the tribe takes it over, that members that are not that specific tribe are not going to be eligible for services anymore, which is a complete false information. They've kind of gone out of their way to derail the tribal leadership's efforts. We've also seen situations at BIA where a tribe was looking to take over new functions under its agreement, and whenever they asked the BIA for the amount of tribal shares, the amount of funding for these activities, BIA came back and said that this is an inherently federal functions, to the extent that the amount that they would get was negative funding if they wanted to enter into this agreement.
I don't want to get any tribe or any person in trouble, but could you please provide those to the committee?
Is it okay if I ask?
Yes.
Permission of the tribe? Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mr. Belmart, I guess I'm maybe not familiar enough with the sort of operation of these agreements. And by the way, I shouldn't be. It should just work, right? But here we are. So there's a new field that requires a justification, and then it gets kicked to Treasury for one last layer of review. Am I right so far?
That was a situation, but we believe we are solving that, so justifications won't be required once we enter into our agreement with Treasury on the ASAP payments.
Once you enter into an agreement with Treasury, why do you need an agreement with Treasury on this matter?
The payments are through the ASAP system.
I mean, I get that they sit on the money. So is that the only reason? Because it doesn't seem to be justified. I don't mean justified. It doesn't seem to be based in the federal law that Treasury gets some final layer of review. Does it?
Senator, some of the questions you're asking me are the same questions we were asking when we were made aware of how those payments were being held up. And that's why we undertook discussions to figure out a way to work with the system so those justifications would not be necessary, which is what we believe we've worked out with the idea of all the recipients. There would be a list of recipients that would go to Treasury. Once that is all worked out, then there would no longer be justifications necessary.
But do you have to get a justification approved by Treasury and then you're good, or are justifications no longer necessary?
Once my understanding, Senator, is that once there's the recipient list that these tribes are the recipients of these type of payments, then no justification will be necessary.
In order to get on the recipient list, in other words, sort of like a pre-cleared list, how is that provided? Does Treasury still have to clear who's on the list?
That's the devil in the details that we're working through.
I mean, but that's kind of everything, isn't it? Because if Treasury still gets to say whether you're, green, yellow, or red, then we're back to violating the law, but maybe even more to the point, just slowing things down to the point where they don't function, right?
Senator, your point is well taken. The purpose of self-governance is to make this easier for tribes to have their own control over these things. So yes, it is a bit of a conundrum.
But you're satisfied, confident that this is going to get resolved? Is it resolved? Where are we?
I'm confident it will be resolved.
And what kind of time frame are you looking at? Days, weeks, months?
When we found out about this, we started working on it immediately. As we were preparing for this particular hearing, when it came up again, we redoubled our efforts and our inquiries to find out when we could actually get the proper documentation in place.
So I know you've been working on this, and it sounds like you've accelerated it. My question is, how long from now do we anticipate this being resolved? Because this is not some, this is not some normal bureaucratic tangle. This is money for the delivery of services that are sort of life-saving, and it seems to me that, it shouldn't be the urgency shouldn't be the hearing, right? The urgency should be, there are a bunch of people, first of all, the statute, and second of all, the people with whom we have these trust and treaty obligations. I know you know that, but I'm still trying to figure out, you think this gets resolved by the end of the month? You think this gets resolved by the end of the year? Tomorrow? When?
I can't speculate on when these matters that take different human beings to be involved in, I certainly can't speculate on when that's going to happen.
Thank you.